Mufasa, more like Mukaka. Yeah, this movie's shit. If you didn't catch what I was implying by that joke. I will say, I think I said in my review that the Lion King remake is one of my most hated movies of all time. But this one surprisingly had me interested. Not because I thought it would be a good movie, but there were things that made this sound interesting to me. Not enough that I would still argue it's a good idea to make this movie. But let me tell you what those things are. And a couple things I enjoyed about this movie somewhat. I thought Lin-Manuel Miranda doing the music was interesting because I love his work. Well, here he is doing the music for this movie. Okay, he passed on doing Moana 2's doing the music for this, so let's see, okay, what's he doing here? Right? And then we had Barry Jenkins, who is a Best Picture winning director attached to this project, right? But then again, Disney takes a lot of good directors, puts them through their fucking factory, and they come out shit. Jon Favreau directed the first Lion King remake, which is a great remake. Or not remake. He's a great director, right? So, you know, this is what happened. So, these things, I don't know. So, I was just curious how these things would turn out. And also, I noticed in the trailer that they were trying to be more expressive with the animals and be more cartoony. And so, I was curious how this movie would turn out. I didn't think it would be good, but it might be like enjoyable enough that I don't hate it as much as the other remakes, but still hate it, if that makes sense. And I think this is the worst of the remakes besides the first Lion King. But it's like, this is like number 2 on the list. It's just a soulless, just, this movie had a couple more things I enjoyed. First of all, I think the music in this movie is better than the Lion King remake. The music in the Lion King remake was really bad, which is weird because you get the same people back to do the music and they're bad, you know? But Lin-Manuel Miranda's songs are not good. They're very passable and inoffensive. And I immediately, as soon as the movie, like, as soon as one song ends and it goes back to the movie, I've already forgotten the song. Like, I'll never listen to any of these songs ever again. The only one I remember is I Always Wanted a Brother, but that is just because they repeat that one lyric all the way, and there's certain accents that the kid voice actors have when they're singing I Always Wanted a Brother. It makes it just kind of like, okay, that's a more memorable song because of that, not because it's good. Timon and Pumbaa had a couple funny lines. They were bad in this movie, but there were still jokes that actually were funny and made sense. Like when they made that joke about Simba singing for Kuna Matata, I think they said for 16 years. It's like, hey, we got you singing that for 16 years. It worked with you. Or some shit. That was funny. Right? But at the end of the day, they can try to sugarcoat this movie and make the animals have a little more expression. You're still dealing with disgusting realism. I kept thinking to myself, if this was just animated like a normal Disney animated movie, it wouldn't be perfect, but it would be so much better. I would be able to feel things, connect to things, and it just made this movie feel so boring. Like, I was so incredibly bored watching this movie because I was sitting there like, I know this is trying to look real, but I can't connect with anything because of that. It shouldn't look real because real life, you know, isn't what I want to look at, and it's just gross. This movie's ugly to look at. I mean, a lot of these songs are literally just sequences of animals running around through like fields and shit. They're not like interesting environments or changing colors like it was in the original Lion King. It's just really awful stuff. And and this is a boring movie. It felt like one of those old Disney sequels that told a backstory that you didn't need to know. Like, you ever watch the Little Mermaid prequel when King Triton's wife died and all this backstory? That doesn't hurt that original movie, but when you learn all that, you're like, I didn't need to know this fucking story. Like, it's boring. You know? And this does a lot of that. Like, you never feel Mufasa's in danger because you know he dies in the remake, which is, you know he dies, so you know that story. You never feel any tension in this movie because his brother is Scar, obviously, so Scar's gonna become Scar. Like, this whole movie is just so predictable and just boring and just not worth your time. I really had a hard time sitting through this one. It was so shitty. I mean, people complain about Moana 2 feeling like a Disney sequel. Go watch this movie. It feels so much worse. It's clear that this one is just shit. I can't believe these movies keep getting made, but people keep going to see them. I literally work at a theater. I see these people look at these standees, and they get all excited, like, oh my gosh, Mufasa. And you're like, why? What is here of substance or value to you? Do you even remember it? Do you even remember the Lion King remake, or do you go and watch the original? Someone tried to tell me once the Lion King remake is on the same level as the original Lion King. I'm like, fuck you. Don't even compare. I don't like to be mean like that, but I really feel like general audiences are literally becoming dumber when it comes to some of the movies that they're choosing to pay for and see. Now, you got all these people who won't go watch a fucking great animated movie. People who love Lord of the Rings won't go see the new Lord of the Rings because it's animated. And it's just like, why are we at a point where we're paying to see the same movies again in lesser quality because they're somehow live action, but when the animated stuff is doing cooler stuff, we're not paying as much attention. Spider-Verse films, yeah, a lot of people see those, but not as much as the Tom Holland ones, and it's kind of sad. I don't know. That's my little rant for the day. Fuck this movie. Please don't go watch it. Go see Sonic 3 instead. I haven't even seen Sonic 3. I'm going to go watch tomorrow night, and I'll record my review. But please don't go watch this movie. You deserve better. Love yourself enough not to watch this bullshit. Thank you. Have a good day.